Hello everyone! How are you feeling today? It's Elras1 here, and today I'm finally coming at you with the first deck profile for zombie months using Zombie Horde structure deck for 4 deck profiles, which are going to come out right after the other. Well, I'm not sure if it's going to be kind of a zombie months anymore, but we'll see. It's probably going to be 3 weeks, but we'll see about that. Anyway, before we begin, I would say this is probably the deck profile that I have the most hardest time to put together, because Zombie Horde is a really good structure deck, but like playing it purely, so to speak, without any other zombie archetypes is a little bit more harder to me, because there's so many things and or stuff that like kind of like let you play and not play. It's like you have less easier time to put monsters on the board and stuff, so I felt like, it's just probably the hardest one, but we'll see how that will go. And also another thing, if there's some particular cards that I miss, is because I either don't own them and or want to make an order to bring them to me, but I just don't have them with me right now. And the 2 cards I'm just going to say that probably people are going to mention right now is Super Polymerization and the zombie, so the dragons that use zombies for fusion summon. Him is a little bit too expensive, and Super Polymerization I'm just going to wait a little bit that OTS packs 9 prints will be a little bit more cheaper and accessible, and then I'm going to get it. But without further ado, let's get started. So starting things off with the monsters. 2 copies of Doom King, 2 copies of Banshee, 2 copies of Bloom, and then, yes, I do play, because it's this deck specifically, I'm also playing 1 Tetsunecro, because it could be good, but it's also not. Okay. Tetsunecro is probably the card that, like, if I have something else, I'm probably going to cut him down. But for the time being, I just don't have anything better, and or this is still in playtesting. So, I think a lot of people also run 3 of this card, which I think is a little bit of incorrect. Let's get over for card to card. Because I think, like, this card is just brick way too much if you have 3 off, and 2 copies is more than enough, and you have, like, your primary boss monsters that always come back in defense position every single time, if you have a field spell or your opponent, and also have some kind of negation and banishment effect. Searcher and Protector for your field spell, you don't need more than 2, because it's only a Searcher from the field or banished from the graveyard. Glow Up Bloom, even though it's amazing and I pray this card so much to able to bring you out this one and or other level 7 5 or higher zombies, I just don't think you need to run 3 off, because a lot of zombies, except from 3 particular ones, you don't really need to run multiples, because you can make without them and you can get the other zombies to your graveyard so easily, so you don't really need to play more than 2 most of the time. And then Tetsunecro, just as a one-off, like I said, I don't have anything better to play right now. And it's also some kind of a good card. It could be a clutch card that you want to see, but like I said, I'm probably going to cut it down. We'll see in the future. But for the time being, this is the lineup that I use from the Zombie Horde structure deck for the monsters. Next up, for the Holy 3 Trinity, which those are the only zombies that I'm actually going to say you want to run all the time 3 of them, is free Solitaire, free Unizombie, and free Mizuki. I don't think these cards need any explanation. They're amazing. They're pretty much make the backbone of every zombie structure deck and or engine. And then also 2 copies of Gozuki, which is pretty much Mizuki little brother. In this particular deck is actually really good. There are particular other decks that is even better, but for this deck it's actually kind of nice, giving you the ability to clog out of your hand other zombies, banish zombies that you don't really need in your graveyard, and just it's also one of those cards that you don't mind to like you a Foolish Barrier or something like that for, so it's really nice. Then 2 copies of Zombie Master, really good card. You see it in your hand, you're able to just send it to the graveyard and then revive it, and then you can just start doing your plays. Like, for example, like I said, send a Gozuki, banish another zombie from the grave, get another one. It's doing a whole lot, and I love Zombie Master quite a bit. And then 1 copy of Vampire Fuel Line, and this one is a really good one that you can search with Glow Up Bloom. And one copy will really help you during the battle phase, and that's pretty much it for the zombies that I run. One zombie that a lot of people may be going to ask why I do not run is Goblin Zombie, but I think like Goblin Zombie is one of those cards that like I debate between him and Tetsu Necro, and only when I'm going to get a certain card, Summon Sorceress, which I don't have yet, I pretty much going to run him probably, even though I probably prefer to summon Glow Up Bloom or something else with a Summon Sorceress effect, because Goblin Zombie doesn't really help. When Firewall was a card, he helped quite a bit, and like I still hate that combo, but it did a lot of things. But right now, getting a zombie to your hand is not the best thing, so you know, it's one of those cards that I debate. But anyway, let's move on to the spells. 3 copies of Zombie World and 2 copies of Terraforming. Again, a card that I don't think need any explanation. Oh wow, I dropped a few cards. Give me a second. Anyway, I don't really think this need any explanation. This card is amazing, and it's giving you the ability to play the so-called Zombie World kind of strategy, and it's really, really cool, making all of your opponent monster zombies as well, which is really nice. Next up, 1 copy of Zombie Necronize, which is pretty much your change heart card, and it's also recyclable and can recycle for you zombies, and it's, again, every single time it's getting banished, you can recycle him with Omega, so again, really amazing card. Don't need it more than 1. Then, for the rest of the spells, you run 3 copies of Allure Darkness, at least I run 3 copies of Allure Darkness, in my opinion, and 1 copy of Card Destruction. Card Destruction, I don't think need any explanation. Again, you just dump your entire hand. Your entire hand is zombies, good zombies that you want to dump, and you draw an entire full hand, and then you have like 2 to 3 Mizukis in the grave. I'm just over-exaggerating for crazy, but let's just say you have 2 or 3 Mizukis and you get the perfect hand. You're not only getting like the entire things you want to Foolish Burial, but also you get the ability to draw fresh hand, which is really nice. Allure Darkness is actually really good. A lot of people are going to consider this probably a weird thing to play 3. I could understand people who run 2, but I like 3 because Allure Darkness is amazing in the cases like sometimes it happens that you draw non-dark zombie monsters, and those are supposed to be like maybe Mizukis or Unizombies, and cards that you... not Unizombie. Unizombie will get banished because you need to activate the effect. But let's just say a Mizuki or stuff. And those cards are cards that you want to have in your graveyard anyway. So you can just set your entire stuff that you don't really care about and then activate the Allure Darkness and take the risk. These are pretty much what I do most of the time if I'm using those card effects. It's just really nice to have this kind of a draw power in my opinion. If you feel like this draw power is not for you, I could understand. And if you want to run Pawn Desires, I could understand that as well. I just specifically don't like it. Next up for the one-off good spells, 1 reasoning for being an extender. I don't think I need to explain why this card is really good here. You just declare, your opponent declare a level. Most of the time he's not going to hit the correct level because you have so many levels all over the place. So yeah. 1 copy of Monster Gate, same idea, but a little bit worse and sometimes a little bit better, depending on the monster that you have. If you have like a Mizuki or sometimes on the field, and you didn't open up with the best monster, or a Gozuki, you can just pretty much tribute that one, and then pretty much start your play. It's just really good, and again, it's another extender. Instant Fusion, same idea, you need sometimes an extender. Foolish Burial, another extender. And then Burial from Different Dimension, again, another extender to pretty much return a few cards to your graveyard, and that helped quite a bit again. And that's pretty much it for that. And then for the revival spells, 2 copies of Book of Life, 1 copy of Monster Reborn, and 1 copy of Soul Charge. Now, Book of Life is one of those cards that, like, a lot of people might actually consider bad and maybe want to run a 1 or at 0. Depending on you, I specifically think, like, if I would have the so-called, the World Legacy Succession, I would probably, like, run 1 Succession and 1 of this, and then have 4 different revival spells. But, I say specifically, because your opponent using it on you a lot of hand traps, I could say Book of Life, even going first, could be not dead. So, it's a good card to just go second and stuff, but it also could be good card going first. If you want to run instead of that Call by the Grave, Twin Twisters, Cyrano style, Swallow Slash, it's a good idea. I don't know. I just specifically, like I said, this is pretty much a a beta version of the deck, and I'm still working on it because it's probably the most hardest one out of all the fours from the Zombie Months structure deck's time, like, you know, what I told you. It's a little bit more harder to build perfectly. But if you know anything specifically that you think is better, let me know in the comments down below, and I probably will try to change it if I will see that it's a good idea. Next up, we'll go to the extra deck, which we start with Red Eye Zombie Necro Dragon. Obvious, it's Zombie Horde, I want to run one of it. Sun Saga, Shogun Saga, and Samurai Saga here as well for the Shiranui lineup, because sometimes I kind of need this lineup, because let's just say I have to be forced to use the zombie monster Glow Up Bloom. It's kind of limiting me for the rest of the turn except from zombies, and that's kind of a shame, but you do have, like I said, the options. And like I said, also Tetsu Necro, sometimes you need to use it. It's nice to have the options. Also, generally, they're not that bad. Shiranui Samurai Saga is a nice climb to go exactly to Sun Saga, and then to pop to your opponent a card and return it to the extra deck. Really nice. There are a lot of interactions here, and I think like running this lineup of so-called zombie synchros is really good, and it's only going to become better when we will get the new Shiranui zombie lineup, synchro lineup. The two new ones. Builds of the Diabolic Dragons. Obvious, it just really good here. Omega, obvious, and Black Rose Dragon, also obvious. Like, those three are just absolutely obvious in my opinion. They're good synchros, they're good here. I don't think they need any explanations. Link, Borolo Dragon, World Legacy Nigirsu, which is supposed to be Unicorn, because I don't own a Unicorn. Phoenix, and Cerberus. If you would have a Unicorn, I think it's a better option, because Nigirsu is specifically, you know, need 2 Link monsters or more, and that's something I don't really have. This is supposed to be Summon Sorceress, and the second one's supposed to be Vampire Sucker. And then the last one is Link Karibo, because it's really nice to use with Glow Up Bloom. And lastly, of course, Sea Monster Theseus for your instant fusion targets. And that's pretty much does it for the deck profile. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I hope you guys enjoyed and did understand, and also kind of like respect my card choices. Like I said, this is a deck that I'm still working on, because it's a little bit not the most easiest thing in the world to do, and Zombie Horde specifically is probably, like, purely is a little bit harder than playing the rest. But, you know, it just totally that, and it's totally good still of a deck. And like I said, see you guys next time, and next time we're going to do vampires. So see you guys next video, and remember, creativity is the key in this game. Have a good day, guys, stay safe, and hopefully at the end of the month we will reach 600 subscribers, which is pretty much the goal for this zombie month. So see you guys next time. Bye bye.